Hi, everyone. It's Adele. I really appreciate your time today. So, one thing as a sales executive, account manager, really am always trying to think, how can I improve in the moment? So, what I did is this year I came up with a sales methodology called Focus on How. Focus on How is a method that helps you to focus on the process so you can get to your desired outcome. So, I devised this method for my own sales experience just to align, with other sales strategies. I think it's important to also use, everything from Medic to BNAPper to active listening, of course, is important in this whole process. But just having kind of a guidepost and a GPS to help me along that journey. So I'm not so focused on the outcome as I am on the process I need to take in the end moments with that client and pushing the deal forward. So we're not, losing out, because when the customer loses, we lose. Yes, obviously, because we don't get the sale, but really at the end of the day, we're trying to help empower customers and solve problems. And if we're not getting that message across or commanding that message and really explaining things and working alongside of them throughout the process, things are going to fall flat, even if they do end up purchasing, because you're not going to give them the support or the desired outcome they really wanted because you weren't listening to begin with. So, Focus on How is just something I wanted to share with you very quickly, just to help you think through some of your sales cycles. It leans into other sales methodologies as well. So, I think kind of use this as an addition to anything you're already doing. But um, kind of Focus on How, it really invites you to reflect on what you've learned, where you are in the process, and how to proceed in a way that benefits you and the client's business goals. So it starts with why. One, we have to understand what's going on, the before state, where they want the after state to be, all of those things. If there's budget, authority, those basic sales things that we always ask, but it goes deeper than that. It's truly understanding what is the why and the compelling event that's driving your client and their business. And if they might not actually have one on top of mind, so you have to discover and kind of put on your investigator's cap. I joke. I mean, I love my old Murder She Wrote episode. So I could be Jessica Fletcher. You could be Sherlock Holmes. You choose. But you're really like curious. This is interesting. I think a lot of people get so caught up in the discovery process. Is like, oh, question and answers. I'm grilling. No, you're impacting change. This is interesting to learn about another person's business. What do they care about? Let them talk to you about that. Don't be afraid to ask deeper questions. That's where the why comes. And it's, in my opinion, the most important part of the sales cycle, because that's where you get so much data and information that's meaningful and that you can kind of go back to later in the sales cycle, say, hey, well, when we initially talked, we spoke that this was important. Are we still on the same page? The second is have a data mindset. I am not a statistician. I am not into data per se, other than college basketball stats, maybe. But having a data mindset isn't just looking at facts and numbers, it's trying to articulate and understand what you heard in the why and the discovery. So often we take all these notes, we put it in Salesforce or our system of record or CRM, and we don't really do anything with it. Or we forget about it, or we just say, oh, that's not important. Well, is it or is it not important? When you really take time to reflect on what you learned and the why and have that data mindset, and this can go throughout the process as well, you're able to truly understand what the client needs and try to pair them with a solution. So every follow-up call you have after that is meaningful and that you're truly trying to get on the same page, because we're here to help them. Yes, we want to get the sale, but it doesn't matter if we can't help the client and help them figure out what they really need. Otherwise, they're just going to have unresolved pain, and it's going to be a frustrating process for everyone. The third piece is the name of the method, Focus on How. And I put this here because this is meant to be a very agile part. This is where you're in the solution, you're demoing, and you want it to be very, I say focus on how because every deal is different. Every presentation is different. Every single objection that could come up, we have buckets of objections and things, but it's going to be different. So this invites you to take action at first, reflecting, okay, where are we in the process right in this moment? Not panicking and saying, oh, I got to get to the outcome. We got to close the deal. I got to convince the customer to buy. No. Where are they? Put yourselves in the client's shoes. Figure out where you are so you can take meaningful action on the next steps. How can you do that? That step is very much agile and based on figuring out where you're on the process in the moment so you can progress the deal forward. Fourth step here is turning how into action. This is really like when you're closing the deal, you're at the final steps, you're sending out the contract, and you're also kind of in the pre-phases, we'll say the first half. I'm a college basketball fan, so of the end game, right? Where you are figuring out how do we want to implement, getting the right resources in place, getting everything kind of teed up to the halftime buzzer. And then number 5 is closing the loop. That's when you really are finishing the deal cycle. And this one could be ongoing, especially if you're an account manager, because the biggest problem I've seen as a sales rep, both for making that mistake myself, but also just in general, is we don't follow up and really help with the implementation or get the customer in the right steps for their implementation. We have to do that. We have to be a partner in that process. If that's not your job, guess what? It is your job if you're selling it to them. But if you don't have the resources to do that, find out who does and make sure that the client has that information. Make sure that you are putting them in the best position so that they can install the product or products and succeed. Because guess what? When they succeed, you succeed. And you're building that trust. You're helping impact their business. And that's only going to help you and your company, because word of mouth is everything. It still is a lot. That's going to get you additional. I can't tell you how many times I've had clients come to me and say, hey, I told this other business about you. Can you work with them? Because you were very helpful to me. And I was so happy because I knew I helped their business, but I also could have the excitement of helping this other business, right? So just kind of keep that in mind. I hope this is helpful. Please follow my blog. It's AdeleLassiterCoaching.com. Adele, like the singer. Funny enough, I was a musician in college, and I still am a songwriter, but I guess I'll be an Adele cover band. A little humor. But yeah, AdeleLassiterCoaching.com. And follow me on LinkedIn. I really want to engage and hear your thoughts and what works for you. This is about community support and focusing on how.